A woman wanted to get close to a billionaire, so she rented an apartment right across from his place. Then every day she watched him through a telescope. One day Mike went to the supermarket, and he saw a girl completely drenched from head to toe. At that moment Casey pretended not to know anything about wine, using it as an excuse to strike up a conversation with Mike. Mike looked at the soaking wet girl in front of him, but he had no idea what Casey's real intentions were. His eyes kept glancing at Casey's chest, but Casey just exchanged a few words and was about to leave. Yet when she got to the door she realized she didn't bring an umbrella. At that moment Mike also walked out. He naturally offered to give Casey a ride home, but as soon as they reached the door, they heard loud crashing sounds inside. Casey explained that her roommate had some mental issues. Hearing this, Mike immediately invited Casey to his house instead. Casey didn't refuse Mike's kindness. They quickly arrived at Mike's grand mansion. As soon as she stepped inside, Casey was blown away by Mike's wealth. Not only did he have an entire wall of wine bottles, he was also the owner of a publicly traded company. At that moment Casey's gaze softened with admiration, and faced with such an alluring woman, Mike couldn't hold back his feelings. He leaned in closer. Casey had achieved her goal. By the time morning came, Casey had already left, but Mike was still lost in the sweetness of last night. That evening as they walked home together, they found someone vandalizing Mike's car. Mike immediately warned the man to leave, but the man wasn't afraid at all. Instead he got even more aggressive, swinging a tool as he charged straight toward Casey. Mike quickly stepped in front to shield her, but his leg took a serious hit. Casey felt incredibly guilty about what happened. To help Mike recover faster, she offered to take care of him for the time being. Then she used the excuse of going home to pack her things, to get access to the passcode of Mike's mansion. Meanwhile her roommate had already discovered her plan to spy on the billionaire, and even started using it to threaten her. To keep things under control, Casey had no choice but to pacify her roommate. Then she returned to Mike's side, and played the role of a gentle and caring woman. The next morning when Mike woke up, he suddenly realized his phone was missing. He searched the living room, only to find that the security system in his mansion had been turned off. Just as he was wondering what was going on, he happened to catch a news report on TV. Casey's roommate had been murdered at home. A chill ran down Mike's spine. At that moment Casey came back. Mike immediately rushed up to ask her about her roommate, but Casey looked completely calm, not even the slightest hint of panic. Seeing the shock on Mike's face, Casey dropped the act. She admitted that getting close to Mike had been intentional, and their so-called encounter at the supermarket was all part of her plan. Hearing this, Mike was furious. He ordered Casey to get out of his house immediately, but then he realized the mansion's security system had already been taken over by Casey.